Let's raise all the big troubling questions right at the very top. Is the Khalistani movement reviving, as some are suggesting? Is Amritpal Singh really a Bhindranwale 2.0? Was the Punjab government slow to act? Just some of the questions we'll raise. Rajdeep Sardesai is former diplomat, has served in several global capitals. Shashi Khan is former Punjab DG. Pramod Kumar, Director, Institute for Development and Communication in Chandigarh. And Jagtar Singh, senior journalist and columnist who's written extensively on this. I want to come to you, Rajdeep Sardesai, first, because Mr. Sardesai, we've seen what's happened in London, we've seen what's happened in San Francisco, and there have been demonstrations in Canberra, and they come against the back of attacks on places of worship, on Hindu places of worship, by alleged Khalistani sympathizers. Are we seeing a revival globally in particular, and is it linked, in your view, to what's happening in Punjab?
Rajdeep, I think what we are seeing is a coordinated effort, probably supported by ISI, to revive its sleeper cells in different countries, to instigate the Khalistani groups to get active at the same time in different points of time. But, you know, apart from having been a diplomat who served in Washington and London and Canberra, I'm also from Punjab. I'm from Amritsar.
Yes.
And I can tell you there ain't any Khalistanis in Amritsar that you see on the streets or amongst people you meet, barring Amritpal and his little cohort. So I think there's a little disconnect. You're seeing a revival of the Khalistan propaganda machine globally, possibly motivated and instigated. But on the ground, I think we should be careful to distinguish between what we actually see and the little bits and pieces that come out in the headlines. I think that's just one point. The second point I wanted to make, Rajdeep, is having seen these demonstrations, it's really what you see typically is a rent-a-crowd, where usually people who are freshly arrived into the country, people who are unemployed, youngsters are bussed in, paid for 3-4 hours to go and do something against the Indian mission, and afterwards they take some pictures, they claim their dues, and they disperse. I think it's important for the UK police and authorities to not only apprehend the guys that you see on the camera, but the masterminds who are behind this.
So what you're saying is that these crowds that we are seeing are possibly rent-a-crowd, that the real masterminds are elsewhere, and that some of this propaganda element is linked to Pakistan's ISI playing mischief again in Punjab and also in these global capitals.
I have a pretty strong feeling about this, Rajdeep. They're clearly very uncomfortable about all the positive attention that India is getting with a string of G20 meetings and everything else that's going on the global stage. And there's almost a deliberate effort to distract attention and to create a nuisance elsewhere. I just want to make one quick point, Rajdeep, before I finish, which is that when we see these crowds outside the Indian High Commission in London or the consulate in San Francisco or elsewhere, please bear in mind that this is a very small minority, a small but noisy minority of the large Sikh community in these countries, which I have interacted with personally in the US, in UK, in Australia, which is law-abiding, which is peaceful, which is patriotic, which comes to our Republic Day and Independence Day events, which wears India t-shirts at a cricket match against Australia or against England. So, you know, I just want to make sure that we don't mix things up. This is a small and noisy minority. It should be placed in perspective.
Let me ask that to Jagtar Singh. As someone who's tracked this for years, Mr. Jagtar Singh, is this a small and noisy minority which is just making its voices heard in these global capitals at this particular moment, a potential rent-a-crowd, as Rajdeep Sardesai suggests? Or do you see some seeds of disruption taking place in Punjab and their echoes being felt across the world?
This is too simplistic version that it's a small minority and it's rented. When people are willing to die for a cause, they are not rented people. Rajdeep, issue is very simple. Around 40,000 people died during militancy from 78 to 95. That era is still to witness closure. People have a right to know as to how many people died during Operation Blue Star in Golden Temple. We don't have any information. The government has so far stonewalled every type of information. Even this is not shared as to who signed the file requisitioning the army. I tried my level best for 6 months. I tried RTI, everything.
No, but are you saying, no, are you saying, 1 minute. Are you saying events in 20?
Let me complete.
Yes.
Accountability has to be fixed. People have a right to know what happened. Whosoever is to be blamed, that must be exposed. People must know what happened during those times. Who are the people responsible for that? Present narrative is rooted in that very phenomena. You can't wish out what happened at those times. For me, Amritpal is not important. He is just a symbol. Issue is the narrative. One, that issue awaits closure. Number two, Punjab, the moderate space in Kali politics is vacant presently. Only moderate space can counter such Khalistani narratives, not otherwise. Now you can carry on.
Okay, interesting the way you're putting it. You seem to suggest that there hasn't ever been a complete closure, and to that extent, these forces in a way always will exist as long as there isn't that sense of complete closure. But let's look at Amritpal Singh for a moment, and I want to turn to you at Shashikant ji as a police officer. Did the Punjab government move too late, or did they have no option? They could have moved, some believe, a month ago when the Ajnala incident took place. Do you believe they moved at the right time and it's a crackdown now, belated though it is much needed?
Well, Punjab police has acted too late, too little, and whatever has happened till now, I think that from very beginning, it was a blast up operation. This guy was moving around, making pro-Khalistan slogans and threatening even the Home Minister and everything, and no action was taken. Why? And at this point of time, I'll also say that when the thing happened, I think Punjab police acted with great constraint when these guys went to Ajnala police station, because Shri Guru Granth Sahib, they had taken, the Pawan Sarup was there, and they suffered, they had casualties, the persons were injured. Hats off to them that they acted with great constraint. But again, I'll say, whatever is happening right now internationally, that's a sheer violation of the Vienna Convention, where these countries, host countries, they have full responsibility to ensure safety of the personnel and the building, etc., at all the places. So I think it's more of an issue internationally also. And like Mr. Jagtar Singh was saying, yes, in a way I'll say that, yes, lots of youth still wonder about what happened in Operation Blue Star, what happened. Those kind of things are going on.
No, but they are.
That's why.
No, but are they Pramod Kumar marginal? You know, obviously there are two views emerging. One, as Navdeep Suri says, that they may be voluble, but they are actually very marginal. They are no longer the force to try and even suggest that there are, you know, that Amritpal can be a Bhindranwale 2.0. 2023 is not 1984, is one view. The other view is that maybe there's a vacuum that's emerged politically in Punjab where these forces are also trying to find their space, particularly if the moderates get pushed back.
Yeah, I think, Rajdeep, I'll make three basic points. One, that to analyze such a phenomena, we have to look at three Punjabs: Diaspora Punjab, Indian Punjab, and Pakistani Punjab. And all three Punjabs give a qualitatively different response. The Indian Punjab, this movement does not enjoy much support, but it could only consolidate the fringe elements, the radicals, only. And whereas the diasporic Punjab has, some kind of narrative which has got energized by such a phenomena which has happened in Punjab. And Pakistani Punjab is always conspiratorial, looking for opportunities to disturb peace. So this is one situation. The two is, which has been mentioned, that moderate space, that there is a protest sites which has been dominated by, our moderate politics has been purged from there. You start with the farmers movement, then you come to these Amritpal. The moderate political space has been shrunk. They have been purged from the mainstream politics. So that is also providing some kind of expression to these extreme elements in the mainstream politics. The third is that there is some kind of a lunatic fringe in the response of the state from inept handling to hyperbole. I mean, that kind of a lunatic fringe, I mean, one can very easily decipher. And this has happened simply because on the same day when Amritpal incident happens and Ajnala intervention was not made by the police and they said that they acted with restraint, the same day they filed, an SIT filed a charge sheet against those who did act with restraint in Babel Kala. So the lesson for the police was very clear. If we act, we will face Babel Kala kind of situation, will be punished. So here is a situation which has emerged. Now the question which Jagtar was raising, that somehow the narrative, we have a narrative, the dominant narrative only, I mean, which how to appease or accommodate the Sikh dominant narrative. Look at the BJP, they want more and more Sikhs in their party. Akali Dal already, I mean, building up that narrative. Congress is in a flux. AAP doesn't know what is happening. So they don't have any sense of history, no future vision. Now, in such a situation, I find the narrative is there, but that there is no counter narrative against Khalistan. There is no alternative narrative.
You're saying there is no counter. No, you're saying there is no counter narrative. You're saying there is no moderate counter narrative to the Khalistani sentiment.
Absolutely no. Everybody, not even Khalistan, but there is some kind of a narrative which is being built that we have to now bring about closer by appealing to one section of the community, not whole Punjabi society. Every person in the society, Punjabi society, suffered during terrorism. But we are only want to bring closer for one section. And that narrative is somehow led to appeasement of a particular section of society, and every political party is trying to rally behind them. And that is why you see today all the dominant Sikh politics is receding because they don't have hold in economy, their political hegemony is breaking, they are totally rudderless, and now other communities are trying to assert in politics. That is also as creating a web picture.
So you're in a sense...
And these assertions are emerging out of that, but I don't see much danger.
Okay, you don't see much danger. Now we'll come to that, the possible dangers of what lies ahead, but Jagtar Singh, you want to respond to that? That there is this political vacuum at the moment in Punjab. The Aam Aadmi Party is a one-year-old government. The Congress is in a state of flux, to use what Pramod Kumar said. The Akalis have been in retreat. Who is going to fill that vacuum? Is that a concern that if radical elements start filling in that vacuum, that even while they may be small in number today, they may well get influential over time?
I agree with Dr. Pramod, and I'll go one step further. Political parties in Punjab have become redundant. I'll give you the example of Kisan struggle. It was a massive participation by farmers in Punjab, but political parties were missing from the scene. Then we have now struggled by another Sikh section right at the doors of Chandigarh, demanding release of Sikh political prisoners. Political parties are again missing. I'll give you one more example. Dharna for the last 7 months in front of a Jeera distillery, demanding closure of that factory that has been ordered to be closed. Again, political parties are missing from the scene. This is the situation. The issue is not whether Congress, Akali Dal or AAP. No. That's political discourse is not responding to aspirations of the people. For me, that is more important.
You know, you're making a very, very important point on the political front domestically. But let's for a moment also look at the diplomatic fallout here, Navdeep Suri, because we've had these attacks in a way, you can call them attacks on the Indian High Commission in London, the flag being brought down, San Francisco, demonstrations. Now, yes, as you say, they're a noisy minority. Be that as it may, should not the governments of these countries be acting, particularly countries like Canada in the past have been accused of being way too soft on those who in a sense are assaulting Indian, the idea of India. who are challenging the Indian Republic. Why don't we see stronger action against some of these Khalistani sympathizers in these countries?
Absolutely, Rajdeep. And I think the hypocrisy that you see is
Sorry, we are having a slight problem with your audio. Okay, unfortunately your frame is frozen, but that is the worry at the moment also, Shashikant, because there is a sense of impunity with which Amritpal Singh was moving around. The Punjab police has cracked down. Let's be fair, they've arrested hundreds of his associates. Hopefully he will be caught in the next day or so. But they've got along with impunity within Punjab in recent times and worryingly across the world.
Yes, to my mind, what is worrisome is naturally, as we are talking about the political vacuum. Aam Aadmi Party came into Punjab on account of a negative vote against the Congress, as also the Akali Party, Akali Dal BJP Party. And the way Punjab government has been taking action right now, probably it appears that since maybe they have a good amount of support from a section of diaspora abroad. That's again one of the things which says and points out to this thing why they were so late in acting in this particular case. And let me say one thing, in Punjab there is no dearth of sleeper cells, and if this kind of incidents keep on coming up, there can be trouble. Khalistan is ruled out, nobody wants Khalistan, everybody has suffered. But this kind of sporadic incidents cannot be ruled out if the government doesn't remain vigilant all the time. Thank you.
You want to respond again, Navdeep Suri? We couldn't. We lost your audio there for a bit. Why can't India demand much more from foreign capitals? Okay, we'll unfortunately losing that link there to Navdeep Suri. A final word from you, Pramod Kumar. In conclusion, do you believe that the likes of Amritpal Singh can in any way become figures around whom a new generation tries to radicalize itself? Are they seen at all as, should they be seen as concerns, or are these simply fly-by-night operators in a way? This is not Bhindranwale 2.0 by any stretch of imagination. They do not command that same kind of support on the ground in any case.
Yes and no. No, because if the political parties learn their lessons, which they don't do it quite often, they teach lessons but they don't learn lessons. Now what is happening, not only in Punjab, all over the country, we are teaching lessons to the moderate political parties and we are pushing them on the margins. Once you do that, the space is invariably going to be occupied by the radical elements or gangsters and others, and the violence will get legitimized. So therefore I think that is the lesson which the political parties must draw, that they must not, in order to capture power, make moderate politics redundant. And number two, we have to look into the whole process of economy where we have freezed into the green revolution, and after that Punjab has stopped growing. And there is unemployment, there is inequalities of a different kind, but we don't pay much attention to it. We say there is a drug problem, there is a gangsterism, there is Amritpal, there is everything else, but we don't address those real issues which will help us to moderate all these kind of conflicts. So Punjab needs some kind of paradigm shift, a new vision, and new ideas which can transform this kind of discourse which is retrogressive, and this kind of discourse which does not answer any question of the problem which are being faced by Punjabis here.
So what you are seeing is really a symptom of a wider problem, is what you are suggesting. The problems that Punjab faces economically, the political vacuum that exists, the pushing of moderates on the margin, and perhaps the failure indeed of enforcement agencies to act in a manner that would send a strong signal that enough is enough. All of this perhaps has led to the rise and the emergence of leaders like Amritpal Singh. They are clearly fishing in troubled waters. I appreciate my guest joining me. I'm sorry, Mr. Suri, can you hear me now one last time?
I can. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yeah, I can. So, why don't you very quickly answer that? Because that remains a ticklish question. Why can't we act against Why can't we get foreign capitals to act more strongly against Khalistani sympathizers who are taking the law into their hands?
Rajdeep, what I was trying to say was that both in Canada and in UK, the Khalistan issue is embedded in domestic politics. There are key constituencies where there is a swing vote. And you know, this is vote bank politics at its very worst, where a handful of members of parliament will continue to agitate that issue. They will put pressure on government. The government says it wants to use a light touch approach. This is how we work. But that light touch is not visible when it comes to a matter related to US or Israel. There was no light touch in US policing when you had the ISIS elements, for example, active. So there is a real hypocrisy in this, and I think we need to continue pushing back and demanding from the US, from UK and Canada in particular, and as we have done from Australia, that you have a responsibility under the Vienna Convention to protect diplomatic premises. Right. It is ridiculous to tell our High Commissioner or our mission that please talk to London Metropolitan Police. That's not how it works. It's the state's responsibility, damn it. And you have to step up and look after the diplomatic missions.
Absolutely, and those are strong words which hopefully someone is listening in these foreign capitals. Enough is enough. We're just getting news that India has lodged a strong protest against the vandalism that's taken place in the United States. I appreciate all my guests joining me to share different dimensions of this very difficult issue that Punjab and the country is now dealing with.